Hi, welcome. On this video, it's part of a series called Flipping the Script. I'm going to be focusing in on using a third party to re-sign the social contract between a dog and owner. So again, when I talk about third party, what I'm referring to is trainers who use other dogs. Very kind of Caesar Milan-like, using a pack of dogs to try to create, balance by way of a dog that has gained a level of control with their owner. And so here in this video put out by a trainer who does use other dogs as a type of pivot point in terms of trying to create change is a trainer goes by the name of Joel Beckman, very popular on social media. So here on this video, I'm going to be using this video as a reference point to talk about this dog and human type of dynamic in terms of using other dogs. Now, the title of this video is Hard Lives Make for Tough Dogs. Traumatic upbringing led to him biting people and dogs. So you get this whole thing about traumatic upbringing. Okay, this is where you get this whole issue about, I call it like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where dogs deal with trauma differently than human. However, in terms of how we connect, okay, how we think, based again on the social aspect of the relationship, what that translates into is oftentimes it becomes empowering to a dog. And so I've had situations happen before where a dog has been injured. That situation in Canada, a dog was hit by a vehicle, broken leg. Dog was fine before that. Then the owners came to me talking about how the dog had become aggressive, and they attempted to link that back to the injury. And again, as we kind of talk through everything, what I've got them to understand as a process kind of unfolded was that nature deals with things differently. Because again, we hold on to that baggage as humans, and we don't let it go. Nature has a different way of dealing with it in terms of, of strength and weakness as defined by nature, kind of how nature kind of moves forward. Survival of the fittest seems kind of brutal in a lot of ways in terms of how we deal with things, but nature can help us, okay, understand to help deal with how to move forward. But because they didn't let it go, what happened was it became a source of empowerment to the dog based on the level of connection, the level of emotional baggage, even after the injury healed. So what happens, the dog became aggressive, and they tried to say, well, it must have been because of the injury. And then through the process, I said, no, it's actually because, and again, that's just part of being human. That empathy part, dog starts to transfer over into a problem by way of that connection, and then it will empower the dog. Dog becomes aggressive. And so as we move through it, dog, again, normalized, okay, because they let it go. They start to, again, engage the right way, and the dog got back onto the right path, okay? And so here, understand that. So we get this whole thing about, the relationship. Okay, understand that it's always about, and this goes into this whole thing about using a third party as well. Really important to make sure the spotlight shines on the human, on the dog owner, in a big way. Okay, and again, I talk about the core ingredients, influence and control, coming into a process by way of a intentional interaction-based method. Okay, that again, that brings them in at the right level. And in terms of, of beginning to engage, being dialed into the relationship the right way, and understand when I talk about certain themes, understand these are themes that, by way of, say, Beckman and others who are identified as balanced dog trainers, those themes are not the same at all. Okay, understand I talk about the core ingredients, influence and control, coming into a intentional interaction-based method, being dialed into both the relationship and the dog's level of thinking. And so the proactive role of influence as you're intercepting, certain moments where control is being expressed by way of a dog's state of mind, and intercepting those moments in terms of starting to change the perceptions of dogs. And you'll see that inwardness happening as you start to engage that way. Agreeableness, okay, by way of the role of influence. And so here we talk about, balanced dog trainers. Understand they're not dialed in. They're dialed in a very superficial way. And so they'll use treats typically. They'll use motivating agents to motivate response. And I talk about why that's a problem based on the fact that you're in the middle of a relationship problem. So this issue about motivation, understand the relationship is the motivator, okay? That's social connection. And so then you want to align yourself with a interaction-based method that speaks the right language, that takes a path of a intervention, a power play, but a type of process in which the dog comes into agreement with, okay, the right way. Again, you watch my videos, see how I'm doing that by way of very specific interactions. So understand balanced dog trainers approach training differently. They approach it just like forestry trainers, a type of learning-based exercise. And then they'll do certain things such as here with using, third-party dogs to other dogs to attempt to create balance. But the real question, which we're going to answer here on this breakdown, is how does that transfer into the source of the problem, into the relationship itself between the dog and owner directly. Okay, there's the rub. Okay, there's the problem, is can that change, or can that type of dynamic, that interplay, what does that mean? And we'll talk about that because that's a problem in itself, based again on the fact that dogs can go into, in terms of that type of a pack relationship with other dogs, and still hold a level of control. Okay, so again, appearances are a big issue here, but not just that. It's all about the owner. Understand this is about, the relationship directly with the dog. Understand that that's where the focus needs to be on. So we're going to play some of this video, and I'm going to stop along the way to offer some additional insight and context into both balance training, but also this whole thing with using other dogs to create change. See right here, right away, okay, and this is the thing. I talk about everything needs to come through that owner, okay, in terms of intentional control and influence, in terms of the relationship, the owner being the pivot point. Even in this moment, that's not happening here. So even here, you see this, her dog, bouncing off the fence towards the other dog, expressing control, right? And the owner is going to be left in a passive role. And understand, this is what happens. You get in this thing about using a third party, other dogs. That's kind of the theme that you're setting in motion anyway. Okay, you see the owners like standing around, not, directly, advocating through, intercepting. Okay, because everything should pass, filter through. Okay, the relationship that way in terms of reversing course. And so when using other dogs this way, that's going to be the focus. Okay, understand right away. So it's going to shift the focus away from the owner that way. Okay, because that's the idea of things. Okay, they're saying I'm going to use other dogs here, and it can appear, and this is the problem, in terms of of appearances, it can look a certain way, and the owner can say, "Well, that's great. The dog is having this reaction with other dogs," but again, you have to always consider, okay, it's like sending a selfish child away from to boarding school. Okay, when the problems start between parent and child, do you expect a third party to fix the problems? Like once that child comes back into the home environment, you're going to be going through all that, everything that happened there. Okay, understand that this is key here, is making sure that the spotlight shines directly on the owner. Using third party, using other dogs doesn't do that. See, she's just stepping back. This is about the relationship. So dogs again gain control in and through that owner, through that social connection.
So there's that like go big. Right. I've never seen that metal move that much.
Wow. She's talking about, I never seen the metal move that much. I wouldn't care about that. I mean, the metal shouldn't have been moving anyway, because this owner should have a leash attached to the dog, and just as the dog thinking, just as this dog was keying up on starting to fixate on the other dog, she should be nudging the dog out of it. Like, period. Okay? So the fact that the fence moved, that's because that's an express state. Okay? So everything's about processing. It should be processing through the owner. See, Beckman, because he has this idea of things, right? Through balanced training, appearances, other dogs that way. So he's just like, this is like his assessment or whatever.
He went with all his might
Yes.
and he pushed his heart. It was a big ass get out of
Oh,
here.
yes.
Like big.
And so what happens here too is like, and what this does is it puts stress on the dog. I understand the dog's stressed already through having gained control in the relationship with their owner, but now this whole thing about, because understand certainty, clarity, okay, needs to come through the owner by way of, again, those core ingredients I talk about, intentional control and influence need to be engaged that way. So here, same thing. You'll see Beckman, it's the same thing. It's kind of like this whole thing with let the dogs work it out to a certain level. You're kind of like in a more of a pass role. So pay attention here, because what you see with Beckman is a lot of kind of loose leash, ready to kind of like, correct the dog if there's a reaction. But the problem is he's letting this play out. It should be, processed in and through the human to stabilize the mind the right way, to get the dog to, again, see everything through you. Again, through those core ingredients. That doesn't happen through balance training, and certainly not here.
Good girl, Alicia. Yes.
There's Princey. There's Princey.
Now, same thing here, okay? And there's certain themes that go along through balance training. You see Beckman standing here, and he's almost like he's negotiating with this dog, okay? He's like talking, verbalizing to the dog. Shouldn't be doing that, okay? It's about control and influence. So, it's about what's reasonable too, but it's about communicating. I talk about the right language through control, intentional control, and influence, okay? You're directing that dog into you right away. Okay, there's no negotiation. So those themes. All right, understand that I talk about bribery, accommodation, negotiation. Those themes attached to this learning-based idea of things. That's why I see a lot of balanced dog trainers engaging in these themes. Understand the dog's already in control. So clarity needs to be provided in and through, just like the right parenting style. The themes need to switch out. Okay, so here you hear him talking to this dog.
And our other dog is a Doberman.
Oh my goodness. Look. Mayhem.
So he's like, look, right? Because this is all about other dogs, right? It's like very season of my life. This is about, shouldn't be that way. You watch how I'm processing. So if a dog's very reactive towards other dogs, how you do is everything comes through that owner, right? You want to, again, fade that owner in at a really good level first. Then you bring in another dog in a very controlled way, right? But through the leash, okay? That owner is, engaging, starting to move closer, but dialed into the relationship, the dog's state of mind, the person's nudging. You watch my videos, how I'm doing it, because everything needs to come through that way as the pivot point. See, this owner's still standing to the side. Beckman now, again, same thing, intentional control and influence isn't happening. He's trying to like negotiate this dog over towards the other dog. The other dog is like the spotlight, the third party.
Yeah.
Mayhem. Come on. That's our good boy. That's our sweet boy.
And see, all that type of language, should be absent. Because it's about clarity the right way. Because here's the problem. If you start to play off of certain themes the wrong way, and you start to engage in those type of themes I talk about, bribery, accommodation, negotiation, you're leaving that door completely wide open for a dog to continue to hold control in the relationship. Okay, even though you may gain agreeableness, you're gaining agreeableness the wrong way. Just like a selfish child, a parent quarterbacking, gaining agreeableness through those three themes. You can create agreeableness, but not fix the relationship.
Mayhem's the best boy. You want to go see Prince?
Not the best boy. Okay, this is about clarity. So he's saying you want to go see Prince, right? These other dogs. Shouldn't be about the other dogs that way. See, he's trying to build bridges the wrong way here.
Come on. You want to go see Princey? He's a nice boy. You want to go see your mommy? Mayhem, come on.
Mayhem, come.
There she is. There she is.
She's saying come, but not connected. Okay, through those core ingredients, this is all, disconnected here.
Come on. That's our good boy.
And see how lower body stress, right? Because this is like a type of negotiation here. The dog's already in control, so this dog's already stressed.
That's our good boy. That's the best boy. There she is. Do you see Prince? You want to go say hi to him? Yeah. There he is.
Because really, Beckman's approaching this as, oh, this dog's damaged. Okay, because the title here is talking about traumatic upbringing. So that immediately, what does that do? Just like the example I used about the dog that got injured. Right? It's like, and then what are you trying to do here? You're trying to, this dog isn't getting clarity the right way. I mean, the human has this idea of things, but it's not the right way to be engaging.
Princey's a nice boy. 2-year-old Cane Corso, this dog's been traumatized in many ways. You're going to.
So it's right there. See that whole thing about, traumatized. Wrong way to be thinking. And just like here, the owner's walking, this dog's off the leash. So you can't bring influence and control into the process because, the owner isn't connected. Because understand something here, and this is important, like to really kind of take away here is like, it's all about the trainer's idea of things. Okay, it's all about other dogs that way. It can set in motion like a picture problem here. Okay, by way of how things appear and not be.
To see me work through it with this guy and try to find him some happiness in life, which is the most important thing. Meeting Prince right now. He got on a plane in Europe and he came off a different dog because of the trauma of being in cargo for 4 days. So
you're talking about cargo for 4 days. I expect that the issues happened before that. Okay, understand that when the relationship's already gone sideways, and then you go into a situation. The dog is going to be stressed, and then it just creates this type of domino effect, right? Just like it's self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like more control, more empathy, more control, more thinking the dog because it's the human, and so Beckman's playing into that.
That is a thing. It happens a lot and is a giant deal that can fundamentally change a dog. The other way, he went to a board and train. They used super harsh e-collar methods.
And you hear that too, this whole thing. We get into that. Went to board, super harsh method. So, and that's the problem here is like where, when the trainer's doing, really on their kind of journey to figuring stuff out, where does that take them? Okay, it it usually will send them in a different direction, just like here. You talk about super harsh corrections. Well, obviously control and influence weren't aligned through a interaction-based method the right way. Okay, that's going to provide clarity. So for a dog like that's already gained control, it's not going to line up. So yeah, it's going to be off. All right, but then the question is, well, what's the solution? Go this way through balance training, those themes, bribery, accommodation, negotiation, right? And it'll seem like the dog, and that's the problem here, control. You're bringing the dog, you're extending control, these themes out, and then it'll seem like the dog is better, and the dog really isn't. Okay.
A lot of pinning. Everything was a battle, and he came out of that a completely different dog. This owner is trying to rehab him, is trying to find the trainer that's going to understand him, and I think you're going to see.
See, that's the whole thing. The basis, it's all about the dog is the problem, right? It should be on the owner. See, when I go in a situation with dogs and owners, even with, I'm barely looking at the dog. Okay, that's the depth. That's the amount of focus that needs to be on the owner in terms of change. That's the pivot point. Here, you notice here, it's all about trauma, damage, right? This type of theme that's going on here. And, and it's playing off of like the whole pivot point here with Beckman is, well, the other dogs, right? But again, you see this owner isn't connected. Influence control is not happening to affect a dog's state of mind the right way at all.
See some pretty interesting things in this video of when to be super soft with your dog, how to read body language, and all that good stuff. So We're just a set. He goes at dogs. He goes at the other dog in his house. He goes at dogs through the fence. He has bit people. He has bit a vet.
You're talking about all these list of issues here with the dog expressing control. But the question you'd be asking, okay, what's the owner's role? How is that defined? Through those core ingredients, influence and control. Are they online?
He has nipped a child, and he could go at me any moment. So we have to keep this. He's looking at me right now.
He could, because the dog's off the leash. Okay, I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, this dog should be attached, and because this is like leaving, and this is the problem. Balanced dog training, what it represents, it's reactionary. Okay, it's not dialed into the relationship or dialed into dog state of mind. So I use a parent example. Balanced dog training represents a parent who waits for the selfish child, right, to already go in the toy aisle and pulling the toys down on the heads of the other kids before it's like, oh, now I'm going to jump in. Like, that's really what balanced dog training represents. Versus what I talk about this system of training represents is like getting the information, right? You have right here, he just listed a whole bunch of stuff saying, okay, I'm dealing with a relationship problem. Okay, what's as a parent, how do I need to engage? Well, I need to be in the child's airspace, and I don't wait until the child's already in the toy aisle acting out, right? I'm in the child's airspace at all levels for a period of time. It's a process. And so, parental influence, I talk about all the themes. I'm dialed into the fact that I'm in the middle of it. And I'm engaged. So right here, none of those themes are present here. This is all trying to package this up as though, okay, the dog's like this dog, but this is the human condition. It's never going to get this owner thinking the right way by doing that. See, it shifts the focus. The focus needs to be on this owner as a parent, saying this is your role. This is what you need to do.
Now, we have to be safe. I was worried half this session because he goes at people hard, and you're going to see it in a minute. I was worried he was going to knock me into the pool at some point just by hitting me. I had to be very careful. He has a muzzle on the whole session. All right, Meisha is going to come down, and
they said this dog should be on the leash and very intentional with influence and control happening, dialed in. That's the solution. Understand, that's the solution. I'm not seeing any of this happening here.
He's going to go at her, and you're going to see how hard this guy says, get away from me, I want to be left alone. What's the cure for get away from me, I want to be left alone? Is it, okay, don't ever take your dog near a...
So again, because understand, this is showy. I understand this is about a show. It really is. Like the other dogs
or near people. It can be. Look at that. Look at this fence bend. Have you...
So again, he's highlighting, kind of like bringing the spot. Oh, look at the fence bend. Fence shouldn't be bending because this owner should be engaged just at the moment the dog is, fixating. You're nudging this dog out of it because the communication is, hey, I own the other dog, right? I mean, that's not happening here.
You ever seen my metal fence bend this much? Watch his head and look at this thing bend.
That should never happen. Because again, it's about the moment of contact. Just like the moment a parent makes contact with a child that's selfish, and you get all the information that you need, all right, to engage the right way as a parent. This is like being onlooker. But this is a problem because it's an express state, expressing control. You want to cut that off at the pass immediately. You watch the other video I did, the Larry Crone video on the, finding the working level. All the same themes are there through balanced training. You see how not dialed in, the dog owner left totally disconnected from, those core ingredients being brought online, control manifesting, right? It's ridiculous.
He hits it so hard. I don't think it's a bite. Would have been a bite. Obviously, it wouldn't have been a bite because there's a fence. But it was such a get away from me. I want to be left alone.
So stop it here, because understand something here. When you go into stuff, you don't have to go far into it, okay? Because when you see all everything happening, then you already know this trainer has a certain idea of things. Because if you're thinking a certain way, right, it's going to come out through what you do. And so here it's all about the other dogs, It's about trying to package this all up so the dog went through a bunch of trauma, but then what's the solution? That's the problem. And those themes I talk about are clearly online here: bribery, accommodation, negotiation. You already saw those playing out, and this owner's left in a passive role. Those core ingredients need to be online, period, and dialed into the relationship and this dog's state of mind. Okay, just that stinking thinking. Okay, of the dog needs to be intercepted. That's not happening here at all. So my encouragement again, you talk about using other dogs. No, okay, other dogs are brought into the equation at a certain point, but always about the spotlight on the owner the right way. Everything comes through that owner, but with those core ingredients online. So again, check out my website. Lots of great information. I talk about not just the problem, the solution by way of a intentional interaction-based method. Thanks for watching.